الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى: باب من ختم على خادمه مخافة سوء الظن. Alright, so this is bab man khatama. Khatama, it has the meaning of, I guess you can say, I kind of like to hide. You know, open up your book and see. We're on Hadith number 168, see it, 167. But like khatama ala khadamihi, it means that you don't show everything that you have. You know, like if it's money or if it's food or anything, like you don't, show and everything that you have, and you keep everything counted, so you know exactly how much of everything that you have. So he said, "Bab man khatama ala khadamihi." So this is for the servant. He said, "Makhafata su'al dhann." So it's because out of fear of what, of a person having bad thoughts. Bad thoughts here is from both sides, because the whole point of this bab is to it has to be more explained and translated. So what it is like basically, if you have a servant that works in your house, the manners and the way that you deal with that person is that you keep everything counted. You don't think that you have something. No, you keep everything counted. If you have anything that's valuable lying around, you have food or whatever, you keep everything counted, and let the person know that you know how much everything is, because this goes from both sides. One, if you don't count something and you think, like for example, that you went out and bought meat, right? And you bought like 6 big chunks of meat, but you thought it was 7, right? Because you didn't count it. You just thought, like you looked at it, okay, we got like 7, but you didn't actually physically count it. Then when you go and look at the bag, because you think it's 7, and you look and you see that it's 6, what are you going to think?
That he took it.
Yeah, you're going to think the servant stole it. So that's one thing, is to protect the servant. The other thing is to protect you. Because if you have a servant working in the house and you have like a lot of valuable stuff, but you show the person that, hey, I'm keeping account of everything, then it's going to make them less likely to what? To steal something. It's the same thing that you see with the supermarkets and places like that, where they keep a strict count of things. But because if you get laid back with something, and you get laid back and you got a person in your house, and and he says, well, check this out, he's not paying attention to this, he's not paying attention to this, I'm going to go snatch it. So sometimes you have to do things to protect the person from themselves. Because the person, if you leave them, just like in any state, just going to mess himself up. You have to protect the person from himself. So that's the whole purpose of this chapter, is to show that if you have a servant in your house, that this is how you deal with things. Like, look, man, everything, I'm counting everything. This way I don't accuse you of nothing, and you can't do nothing, without my knowledge. Because once you become lackadaisical, and the next thing you know, now, where's my watch? Where's my phone? And then if you're not keeping track of things, then what happens is you start to falsely accuse. And that's going to be oppression for the servant. He's just in the house doing his job, and because you don't count stuff, you keep thinking that he's stealing things, and you keep falsely accusing him. So it's to protect both parties. So he said, "Bad man khatama ala khadamihi makhafata su'il dhann." How did they translate it in your book? You want to come to the next. He's got the book in English.
168.
Chapter 88.
So Hadith 167.
Yeah.
We were ordered to seal things entrusted to our servants, and to weigh them and count them, because we dislike that they should get into habits of bad behavior.
No, don't read the hadith. Read the chapter.
Oh, the one who seals things before entrusting them to his servant for fear of suspecting.
Yeah, because the meaning khatama, it means to seal, but this is broader. The meaning is broader than just sealing things, because it's not just sealing, but also sealing and keeping count. Because they said even Ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu, when he used to send a servant out to buy meat, when he brought the meat home, he would count every single piece of meat, just to make sure, okay, this is how many pieces of meat. And in that way, he doesn't come back later on and think, well, I thought there was 7, now there's 6, or you stole, now there's no false accusation. Or he knows that there's like 7 pieces of meat, so when he comes back later and there's like 6, he knows for sure, I counted them. Whereas who took the piece of meat. Now he can, deal with people accordingly. So حدثنا, this is hadith number 167. حدثنا بشر ibn Muhammad. Bishop ibn Muhammad is al-Marwazi. Al-Marwazi. Qala Abdullah here is Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak. Because Bishop ibn Muhammad is al-Marwazi. And Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak is also al-Marwazi. They're from the same area. So they're narrating from each other. Akhbarana Abu Khalda. Do you have the chain of narration in your book? You just have the Sahabi. So you have no idea. Just like Hamza, you have no idea what's going on. أخبرنا أبو خلدة. أبو خلدة is Khalid ibn Dinar and Abi al-Aliyah. قال كنا نؤمر أن نختم على الخادم ونخيل ونعدها كراهية أن يتعود خلق السوء أو يظن أحدنا ظن السوء. So here, this is reported on the authority of Abu al-Aliyah. Abu Aliyah is from the Mukhadarimin. Abu al-Aliyah, his name is Rufai' ibn Mihran al-Riyahi. Rufai'. Okay, so if the people look at his name, make sure that it's not Rafi', it's Rufai'. Rufai', and he's from the Mukhadarimin. What is the Mukhadarim? Oh, come on, we talked about it so many times.
I don't know what it's called.
Someone who was alive in the time of the Prophet, but they didn't meet him.
Yeah, see, come on, man. You got it there. You've been hearing it a lot. You just got to process the information. So al-Mukhadaram is a person who was alive and he became Muslim. Not just alive, but he became Muslim in the lifetime of the Prophet. But he never saw the Prophet. He didn't meet him because he was in a different area. He became Muslim, so he never met the Prophet. But he was Muslim. So that's a Mukhadaram. So he's underneath the Sahaba. Alright, right underneath the Sahaba. So they took knowledge from the Sahaba. Alright, so he said, Abu al-Aliyah said that we were commanded. And then when he says we were commanded, who commanded him?
Who was or who commanded? You're saying who was commanded?
No, he said, Kunna nu'mar, like we were commanded. Who commanded them?
Prophet.
Sahaba. No, because he didn't meet the Prophet. So he didn't live in the time. He was alive in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but he wasn't there. He was in the time of Abu Bakr. He was in Medina. So he used to pray behind Abu Bakr. Alright, so he was at that time, he was around the Sahaba around that time. So he was alive and a Muslim in the lifetime of the Prophet, but he didn't get to Medina until after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. So obviously the Sahaba are the ones who commanded him. So he said, we were commanded to nakhtim ala al-khadim. And nakhtim, like he said, is like to seal, to keep things. And that doesn't mean just to seal something. But like let's say that, for example, you go and give your servant money to go and it's just not just your servant, because this is dealing with a servant, but we could use the same understanding for workers at the job. But let's just look at the example here. You need to get some meat. All right, meat costs like how much per pound? $3. Well, if it's halal, it's like $5.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say $5, right? So you need 5 pounds of meat. So you go and you tell the servant, look, man, here, take this $50 and go get 5 pounds of meat, and the other money's for whatever. Well, you can't use Uber. You can't use the money for Uber because they don't take cash here, do they? Yeah, so, but whatever, so the other money, use it for other things, right? You give them $50, but you take the 50 and you give it to them. Or do you pull out $1,000 and here you go, take 50. What would you do? What do you think is the smarter thing to do? Yeah, because what would happen if you kept pulling out this big wad of cash and did this and looked, 100, oh, here's a 50, here you go, take this 50. And go get the meat. What do you think might go through that person's mind?
He has access.
Man, I'm gonna rob this Jew. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is the whole point is to not open up the doors to Shaitan. Like, he might never do something like that, because obviously you let him into your house, you trust him. You understand? So maybe he would never do something, but you don't want to open those doors to where you just get lackadaisical, just like counting money around him, leaving the women leaving jewelry just lying around the house, and real expensive jewelry where she's not, like maybe the man has like a Rolex and he comes and takes the Rolex off and puts it on the table and walks off and not paying attention to leaving things where people, might be tempted. And this is what he's talking about in يختم عليها على الخادم. So if you know that you have servants and people come in and cleaning your house, like here, you might get like here they have like the Mexican maids and stuff like that, the women, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do that a lot in Fresno because I know in LA they have a lot, right?
Not a lot, but it's here though.
Yeah, for the real rich people, right? So the same thing, obviously once you get to know the person, you trust the person, but still you don't want to open up that door to like, you're not gonna just leave things like lying around where that person, because even if you have like certain valuable things, like, you tell the person like, hey, this room, or just lock that room, but you tell her like, don't go in that room, ever. If I catch you in that room, don't come back to my house again. And keep the stuff that's valuable away from the people, because you don't want to tempt the person. You go leaving a $20,000 watch lying around out here, and this person's struggling to pay their PG&E bill. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they don't want to do you wrong, but it's like, man, I need to pay my bills, and there's a $20,000 watch just sitting right there on the dining room table. You don't want to open those doors. So this is what he's talking about. كنا نؤمر أن نختم على الخادم. To seal everything off, keep everything. Just they only need to see what they need to see. That's it. They don't need to see all your money. They don't need to see going up, open up a vault like, Scrooge McDuck or something, with all this gold coins up in it. They don't need to see all that. You just show them what they need to see, because you're not trying to tempt the people. All right, and if you are going to tempt them, start paying them more. So it'll be, not less likely to do something like that. He said, when nakil, it means that we used to weigh everything out. When na'uddaha, and we used to count everything. So this is what he was commanded to do. Seal everything off, weigh everything, to make sure that you know the weight of everything that you have in your house. All right, wa ta'uddaha, and to count everything, to make sure that you know. All right, if I got something valuable, all right, then like, for example, my wife has 10 rings. All right, 10. I know how many rings she has. If I come one day and she's got 9, I'm going to go to her first. She better answer. If she's just like, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't wear the rings. Somebody's going to answer, so you keep count of everything. And if it's something that needs to be weighed, you keep the weight of everything. Karahiyatan an yata'awwadu. And this is done for the purpose of it being disliked, to get the person accustomed to khuluq su, like bad morals. Because you're tempting the person, you're tempting, and as you keep tempting and tempting and tempting, you're pushing the person to like have thoughts that that person wouldn't have had on a normal occasion. Because now the person's thinking like, man, he keeps leaving all this money lying around, he obviously ain't gonna miss, $20 here, $100 here, you're tempting the person, which is now the person's morals are starting to become corrupt. Or because we might start to think bad thoughts, because we're like disorganized, and then we forget where we put. Next thing you know, you're running around falsely accusing people. And how many times does this happen? Where's my phone? I told y'all to stop taking my phone. Why y'all keep touching my phone? And then you realize, oh, I left it in the car. And after you done yelled at everybody, accused everybody, what you got? That's the fish from a few days ago, right?
No.
Oh, this is new.
Yeah, sisters came by and dropped some fish off. I think the sister Fatima was gonna be here. And I got on.
Because we haven't had a class for like days. Like, this is the first class we've had since, when was the last time? Saturday. This whole week we didn't have class. Wow.
Well,
Funerals, man.
I'm here.
Funerals.
You like my hair.
All right.
يجيب كل القطط معاه.
What's that?
يجيب كل القطط معاه.
Oh, no doubt. That fish. He's gonna have all the catches sitting outside the door right now. Garfield and his companions. All right. So that's understood, right? We'll take one more hadith, inshallah, and then we'll see whatever question they got. What's the chat looking like today?
ما عارف سمعني واي فاي في المسجد ما يشتغل.
You gotta do it. Ibrahim, it's on you, man. Save the live stream. I don't have my phone. He can't connect to the Wi-Fi. And don't tell me you can't connect either.
No, I can't. There's nothing there yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a peaceful day today.
Yeah.
People probably didn't know we were having class, huh?
So yours is more Kamil?
What's your sport, man? We had class here myself. So when was the janazah? Or what's today? Thursday? No, it hasn't been since Saturday. You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Because yesterday we didn't. All right, so yesterday we didn't go because we ate too much for 2 days. So that was Wednesday. Tuesday was the janazah. So that was, and then Monday was when the day that the girl died. Allah yarhamha. So she died on Monday. You sure we didn't have a class on Sunday?
No, yeah, it's Sunday, the update for the class. Sheikh is not able to make it.
Oh, okay, so yeah, Sunday. All right, so yeah. All right, so the next chapter, chapter 89. باب من عد على خادمه مخافة الظن. And this is the same. It follows up the same thing. This was khatama, and this is adda. Adda means to what? To count. That you count everything, with the servant to make sure that, this way, for fear out of falling into bad thoughts. And like I said, for us, we're not going to really apply this because, again, we don't have maids all up in our house and things like this. But if you're working at a store and you got workers, this does apply in that scenario, because the same thing, if you got a whole bunch of people working in the store, you're not going to sit there and open up the safe and show everybody you got stacks of cash up in there and showing everybody where you're hiding the money and where you're putting the money, because some places they put the money in the floor. And you're not going to show them all this stuff. You're not going to sit there and do this in front of people because you start setting yourself up. Because people, they might not, they're trying to get their lives together, but then you put them in a predicament where they're like, maybe just one more time, just one more. And now I won't do it again,
Easy come up.
Yeah. Got to get the PG&E paid this month, It's too expensive. All right, so this is what he's talking about. So, Hadith number 168. حدثنا أبو نعيم. All right, حدثنا أبو نعيم is Fadl ibn Dukain. قال حدثنا إسرائيل ابن يونس ابن أبي إسحاق السبيعي. So Israel is Ibn Yunus ibn Abi Ishaq. Focus on that name now. Israel ibn Yunus ibn Abi Ishaq. All right. An Abi Ishaq. Who is that?
Ibn Israel.
Boy, you.
Huh?
Ibn Israel.
No. They are related, but not. Israel ibn Yunus ibn Abi Ishaq. So this now, he says, An Abi Ishaq. So who is Abu Ishaq? The grandfather. All right, so he's the grandfather of Israel. All right, so Abu Ishaq is his grandfather. And Haritha ibn Mubarrab and Salman, radiallahu anhu, Salman al-Farisi. Salman al-Farisi. Beautiful story. You need to go read his story and what happened to him. He's from Persia, not from the Arabs. But he heard, that he wanted to go because he knew that the religion of his fathers was batil, just a bunch of garbage. Because they used to worship fire, the Majus, the Magians or whatever in Persia. So he set out because he got kind of influenced by the Christians at that time, because this is before the Prophet ﷺ was sent, and or right around that time, because at this time he'd actually gone to Medina. So and he heard about this through being around the different Christians, because he would look for the most knowledgeable person. He said, "Who's the most knowledgeable person in your religion?" And he would go there and stay with that person. Then this person dies. But before the person dies, he asked him, he said, "Okay, you're about to die. Who's the most knowledgeable person after you? Who can I go to after you?" And he keeps pointing him. And then finally they said, he got to the point, I think it was maybe 3 people he was with, they all, and they died. And they said, the last person said, that there's a prophet, he's going to come out in this area, so you go to him. So he was trying to get there, and he got captured by one of the tribes and sold as a slave. And he ended up getting treated really badly, but he ended up in Medina. And that's how he found out where the Prophet ﷺ was. And he went and started asking the Prophet different questions to find out if he was really a prophet. So like one time he brought dates to the Prophet ﷺ and said, this is a charity. And he refused it. He said, we don't eat charity. And then the next day he brought the dates to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, this is a gift. And he took them and he told the people to come around and he ate from them. Because he could eat a gift, but he can't eat charity. Because the people from the family of the Prophet ﷺ, they're not allowed to eat charity. It's not permissible for them to eat from the charity. So when all the things that happened, he knew that he was the Prophet ﷺ. So then he accepted Islam. And he eventually he worked and bought his freedom. So he got freed and he became from the Sahaba, Salman al-Farisi. So Allah musta'an. Beautiful story. You got to find the story. So you can find it online. Just go to Google, type in the story of Salman al-Farisi. As he told his whole story. So in the narration. So he said. So this is reported by Salman. So this is kind of stronger than the previous hadith. Why is it stronger? Well, not just the chain of narration, because actually the chain of narration, without number 169, this chain of narration will have some type of weakness in it. Because Abu Ishaq is a mudallis, and he reported this hadith and haditha, but he said an, called an-ana. And so we're going to see how this next hadith makes this hadith stronger. But no, the previous hadith was reported by Mukhadram, which is not. So he's reporting what? This is what we were commanded to do from the Sahaba. Now this hadith is reported by Salman, radiallahu anhu, who is a Sahabi. So now he's not saying okay, the Sahaba told us to do this. No, he is a Sahabi. So it's higher. The information it comes from a higher source. So he said, قال إني لا أعد العراق على خادمي مخافة الظن. Alright, so he said, Salman radiallahu anhu, he said that I count the uraq. The uraq is the bones of the meat after the meat has been eaten from it. So once the people have eaten all the meat, sometimes you keep the bones for what?
Broth.
For broth. Because if you don't have, because you might only have meat. Back in those days, they're not eating meat every day. It's not accessible. So they'll take the bones maybe the next day and boil them up. So it makes like a broth. So it at least gives the food like a meaty taste, even though there's no meat in it, right? So they use it for broth, right? So he said that we used to count the uraq, the bones, after the meat's been eaten off them, just so for the servant. Like we literally sit down and say 1, 2, 3. How many bones do you see? And he would count them with the servant. Makhafat al-dhann, just to keep it to where there's no bad thoughts between either one of us, where this person doesn't even think about even stealing so much as a bone, and I know how many there are, and I can see, and I know that nothing's been stolen. It's like I said, I don't think I thought there were 7, now there's 6 you stole, and then find out that there was 6, but you didn't count them. So he said we count everything to make sure everything's accounted for, so there's no bad thoughts that we have for each other. All right. And the same narration, 169, حدثنا حجاج قال حدثنا شعبة قال أنبأنا أبو إسحاق. And this is where this hadith makes the other hadith stronger, because he says سمعت حارثة. سمعت, he said I heard Haritha say. The previous hadith he said an. Alright, but here he says سمعت, which means now he said no, I heard him say this. And if as long as he says that I heard him say it, then the hadith is authentic. The hadith is authentic. قال سمعت سلمان رضي الله عنه قال إني لأعد العراق خشية الظن. The same hadith. He only brought the Bukhari rahimahullah. He only brought this hadith again for the purpose of showing that سمعت الحارثة, that he heard Haritha say this, because otherwise this hadith would have some weakness to it. but just to show that this hadith is authentic, and it is authentic. So he said that I used to count the bones, khashyat al-dhann. But here he didn't mention anything about the khadim. He just said I used to count the bones, so there's no bad thoughts in the house. Like nobody's thinking like somebody else is doing something. So yeah, that's basically it, man. It's not just for counting things, and but just again, you protect people from themselves, man. You protect people from themselves, and you protect yourself also because if you know what's there and you know what's not there, you know when something comes up missing and when something doesn't. But if you don't know, then you keep thinking, it's gonna cause you so much stress because you're always thinking somebody's stealing from you, something's missing, somebody's using this, or
Yeah, I figured out. You know how y'all siblings in the house and everything. I had to stop that. Yeah, it'd be like.
what happened?
Like for example, like how you say like, basically like jump to assumptions with something that's lost or all that stuff. Yeah, I had to learn from that earlier. I had to.
Hey, it happens all the time.
Yeah, so I just now.
Even with food in the refrigerator.
No,
I'm saying people
that's
put
different, though. That's
like
different. Someone really ate that.
how many times has children been yelled at by their father because the father assumed that he put something in the refrigerator and didn't realize, that he came back later and ate it and forgot. And then yelling at the kids, y'all keep eating my food. Who ate my cheesecake? Who ate my sweet potato pie? I'm gonna kill everybody in this house, Yeah, so yeah, man, you gotta keep everything accounted for. That's why, like, even with my kids, man, if we get like that, like sweet potato pie, we cut that thing up. That's yours, that's yours, that's yours, that's yours. Khalas. And we don't come, somebody comes and like, where's mine, where's mine? You ate that thing. We know you ate that thing. No, everything's accounted for. What questions? Because we ain't got Bulugh al-Maram tonight, man.
Instead, does a layman, common folk, and beginner student of knowledge have to do taqlid of a madhab or a sheikh?
This is from the discussion this morning. You see this? This is probably, I don't know if this is somebody that watched our class from this morning. Because we were talking about that this morning, right? So maybe somebody watched that. No, you don't have to do taqlid. Taqlid, it means to follow. Absolutely. Like, this is my sheikh, and I follow him. You don't have to do the taqlid of, like, this is what I don't understand. It's like the people keep telling everybody, like, you have to follow a certain madhab. You have to follow a certain madhab. Yeah, akhi, why can't I take a certain book of hadith and just follow that one book? Like right now, I don't have knowledge, and I don't know. For example, I didn't study usul al-fiqh, and I don't know that this is nasikh and this is mansukh, and I don't know what's up. Yeah, it is free. But count them first.
Oh. I ain't gonna lie, I ate some.
You ate some bones.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat the bones, right? But it's fish, man. It happens. But that's what I'm saying. Like, why can't a person just take like Sahih Muslim and say, look, I don't have a lot of knowledge, so I'm going to take this book of hadith and I'm going to follow what's in this book until I know better. Why do you have to follow a certain method? Why do I have to go? And how's a layman supposed to follow a method? How? How is he supposed to follow this? Just imagine this. Like, a layman would have to study the religion to follow a madhab. He'd have to go get books that he doesn't have access to, especially we're talking about laymen in America. These books aren't translated. A lot of these books aren't translated in English anyways. The books of hadith are. So why can't the layman just say, okay, look, man, I'm going to take Sahih Muslim. Whatever I find in Sahih Muslim, that's what I'm going to do until I know better. Why don't you do taqlid of Imam Muslim? Or why don't you take Sahih Bukhari? And I say Sahih Muslim, why? Because, again, you said layman, a person who's just beginning seeking knowledge. Bukhari is difficult. It's not easy. Like what Bukhari did in the book, the way that he put things together is very difficult to find things and understand things. Whereas Muslim, the way that he organized the book is so easy to follow. So easy. Anybody that's just going and just reading along, they can understand it. When the first time that I read Sahih Muslim, I read it the way that he wrote it. Because the way that he wrote it, he wrote it without any chapter headings. Like, when we read this, we say Bab, it's a chapter, right? It gives you a chapter heading so you know what hadiths are coming. Imam Muslim, he wrote it without this. All he wrote, book of prayer, Kitab al-Salat. And then he just brought all the hadith. And he didn't do any chapter, So, but I read it like that the first time that I read Sahih Muslim, because it was the Dar al-Ta'sil. The Dar al-Ta'sil, that's the way they printed it. They printed it the way that he wrote it. And because Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, he came in and he put the chapter headings, the chapter titles to make it easier to follow. He did that when he was explaining it. But the thing is that I can sit there and read Sahih Muslim without the chapters, without knowing what chapter it is, and just follow it easily and know exactly what he's trying to do. All right, he's trying to say he's showing you that this is what's wajib, this is the difference of opinion, or this is the nasakh, this is the mansukh. You can follow it easily. So why doesn't a person just take Sahih Muslim and do that? Why do they gotta follow Imam Malik or Imam Ahmed and then go read in the madhab? How's a layman supposed to do that anyways? And then you go to like the Hanbali madhab, and then you find out that Imam Ahmed, according to these people that put the books together, has an opinion in every single thing. And I don't mean an opinion in everything. I mean, and he'll have an opinion that is halal, opinion that is haram, and an opinion that is makruh. So which one is it? And how is the layman supposed to understand this? So isn't it easier for the layman to take like Sahih Muslim and read it and say, I'm just going to read Sahih Muslim, and whatever's in Sahih Muslim, that's what I'm going to do. And that's it. And if he doesn't want to do that, then at least Bulugh al-Maram. Let's say that he takes Bulugh al-Maram and says, I'm going to follow what's in Bulugh al-Maram. That's it. And whatever it is, I'm going to go back. This is the book that I go back to. And this is why can't he do that? Why does he have to follow a method? Why can't he follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because regardless, he's going to have to get knowledge to follow a madhab. He's going to have to get knowledge to understand the hadith. So what's more, what's more beneficial for you? To get the knowledge to understand the hadith, or to get the knowledge to understand the madhab? Of course. That's what you're getting reward for. You're not getting rewarded for following a madhab. You get rewarded for following the sunnah. So what? Now there's certain things, like for example, there's going to be opinions of the madhab that go completely against the sunnah. All right. But if I'm following the sunnah, I'm just taking Sahih Muslim, and this is what I'm going to do. You're not going against the sunnah, because you're doing what? You're following the sunnah. So when you had certain ijtihadat from the Sahaba, where they had difference of opinion, Ibn Umar and his father, Ibn Abbas with the issue of mut'ah, and all these different issues where they had differences of opinion, what were they following? Each person was not just following their opinion or the opinions of some other sheikh. They were following what they knew of the sunnah. So if you're trying to follow the sunnah and you're wrong, you make a mistake because of lack of knowledge. Like you don't know that this law is no longer applicable because of this other hadith. You don't know that. Well, that's why I say Sahih Muslim, because Sahih Muslim, he lays it out where you can follow it, but you still need to learn, right? You still need to learn a little bit. But okay, you don't understand that, and you go and you follow a hadith and you do something wrong. But you did something wrong doing what? Trying to follow the sunnah. That's better than doing something wrong trying to follow some other person who's not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who didn't even live in the lifetime of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who didn't even live in the lifetime of the Sahaba. So again, you look at what's better. I would rather take the book of Hadith and just follow the book of Hadith and just say, Yallah, may Allah forgive me for whatever mistakes I make. That's better for me than following some other person, following some sheikh. Now, you obviously, to get to understand, now when you sit down and you're studying Sahih Muslim, you need to find a sheikh that's what? It's knowledgeable, it's known for following the sunnah, it's known for having the correct understanding, because that's the understanding of that book that you're going to be taken from. Like when you read the explanation of Imam al-Nawawi, or you read the explanation of Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopian, you're taking his understanding. So you make sure that the understanding of the person that you're taking from is you trust it. But in the end, you're following what? You're following the hadith. That's what you're aiming to do. I'm not gonna sit here and study for years and years and years so I can understand Zad al-Mustaqni', so I can follow Zad al-Mustaqni'. Why would I do that? Why would I follow a book it's not sunnah? I don't get reward for reading that. It's just a bunch of, it's kalam al-bashar, right? And the person who wrote the book came how many hundreds of years after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I would rather follow the Prophet. You know, like I said, make mistakes, so what? You know, that's what we're all gonna make mistakes. Even the most knowledgeable people are still making mistakes. They're just not making as many, but they're still making mistakes. So,
do we take from Okasha Kameni?
I don't even know who that is.
Was said in Majlis Ilm, a person was sitting in an area where they could rest their back. When they saw an elderly person who seemed to need the seat more, they got up and offered it to him. Does this action go against the sunnah, or is it a valid reason to give up one's seat in this situation?
There's nothing wrong with you giving up your seat. The problem is you making a person stand up from their seat and then sitting down in their place. You know, that's the issue. But if you see it like an elderly person and you have a chair, you should get up, especially if you're younger and you don't need the chair. Why are you going to take the chair and he needs it? You give him the chair. But if he, you know, the issue is like somebody coming up and telling you, you know, hey, your car alarm's going off or something, you know, or something to get you up out of your seat, and then he takes your place because he wants to be in the front row and you're in the front row, so he's trying to get you up out of your place. You know, like this, like you see this a lot where you get some shabab, some younger kids, maybe he's like 12 or 13 years old, but he loves the deen, and he wants to get in the front row. And these old people, they come in late, and they tell him, go, get out the front row. This is for us. It's not for you. That's wrong. That's evil. Whoever gets to the front row first, he's the most deserving for it. You know, you can't make a person stand up out of his place. And then on top of that, what are you training the youth? What are you teaching them by doing stuff like that? Like he comes into the masjid, he's like trying to get there early so he can get the front row. And then some old dude comes up and walks up and says, get up. Grabs him and says, move. And moves him out of the front row. That's not permissible. Whoever gets there first, they have the right to that place. But as far as like these types of chairs, you know, where you see the old person, no, man, give him the chair. You know, he didn't make you get up out your place. He's not taking your place. Yeah, that's what the chairs are there for anyway.
When a hadith is doif, is there a shahid or a shwahid for a hadith? Sheikh, does it mean that there is other narrations that are hasan or sahih supporting it?
Yeah, either supporting it directly or supporting it through the meaning. Like where the Prophet ﷺ said in other hadith that are authentic, the same meaning. So that way, yeah, it's because some hadith, the hadith might be da'if, and the Prophet ﷺ might say three things. But one of those things that you can't find that in an authentic hadith, but you can find the other two things. So you take those two things, but the third thing is da'if, you don't accept it.
Don't forget the Salman was dug up in 1930 and body was moved because the Tiger River was sleeping into his grave. So in modern day, we have proof of the shaheed of the condition of the body. That's told us.
What happened?
He said, don't forget the Salman was dug up in 1930.
Salman.
Oh, that's from the person narrated it.
Yeah, I thought you said the salmon. I'm like, I thought you were talking about the fish. I'm like, we're stuck on fish today.
So in modern day, we have proof that the shaheed and the condition of the body told us by Rasulullah.
Who put that comment?
I think it's Abdul Malik.
Oh, that's Abdul Malik?
Yeah, I think so.
What's the name?
Malik.
Yeah, that's Abdul Malik, yeah. Big Abdul Malik, because young Abdul Malik is back, so now we have to differentiate. No, you're just Malik, man. We just keep it easy.
In a hospital, a patient is placed in a medium-sized room with 3 beds, each separated by a curtain, but shared with strange men and women. Is this considered ikhtilat?
Is it considered what?
Is that how you said it?
Ikhtilat or what? What is it? I mean, that depends on the situation. If you can, I mean, if you're like for example, hospital, you're in an emergency type situation, and that's the only space they have. There's no fitna because everybody's in a hospital bed, almost near death or something. But I mean, if you can get moved out of that room into a room where there's no mixture, no women, you know. In most hospitals, it's what you pay for, right? So I mean, if you pay, you. I don't know how the hospitals are in America, but I know overseas, man, you can get whatever you want in the hospital as long as you just gotta pay the money for it. Wait, where'd you get that from? Well, what? You better. Huh?
The fee not come on?
MashaAllah. All this chocolate.
Is it correct to spell Jazakallah khair without the alif on the word of khaira?
No, because it's not correct to say it like that. It's because it's Mufrad on B. So it's the object of the Jazakallahu khaira. You spell it the way that it sounds.
Instead, don't some of the scholars say the Magians are a type of Christians?
No. Nobody says that. They're mushrikun.
So is it
They're
permissible?
not from Ahlul Kitab. Ahlul Kitab, the Jews and the Christians. The Magians are not from Ahlul Kitab.
Is it permissible to say something to my parents that they may not like, even if it's not mandatory? Like if one's parents don't like you asking them to drive you to a Dara or Durus.
Dora.
Is just asking them to bring you considered causing them harm morally.
Alright, you have to read that again. Majed, you want to go call the Adhan?
Mm-hmm.
Go call it. Go outside. Come on, safe calls it, man.
No, I'm safe.
Then go tell Malik, go ahead and call the Adhan. He just walked out. Because we can't stay here tonight too long. Malik. Inshallah, you can call the Adhan, inshallah. Jazakallah khairah.
Is it permissible to say something to my parents that they may not like, even if it is not mandatory? Like if one's parents don't like you asking them to drive you to a Dora or Durus, is just asking them to bring you considered causing them harm
No,
morally?
inshallah. I mean, they're driving you to a lesson. They're driving you to something that brings you benefit. Would they hesitate to take you to a shopping mall or some other place where you're gonna act stupid and probably fall into sins? So inshallah, no problem. Just the parents they themselves need to understand. What would you rather have your child doing? You rather have your child going to the masjid, studying his religion, or would you rather have him doing other things you couldn't even imagine? So the parents shouldn't even get angry for that. The parents should be happy, should be pleased, because they're ready to do everything else. Take them to all these other things that bring them no benefit. He's got to go to like football practice or something like that. They'll happily take him. He's going to the mall with his friends. They'll happily take him. So why is it now when things like this that bring them benefit, why do they become annoyed? So I mean, don't do it on purpose. I mean, don't drive them to the point where you like start to anger them. But alhamdulillah, you just try to remind the parents in a nice way. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to become a better person. And that's what you're driving me to a place where I could try to become better.
How do we deal with people who hold the view of videography being impermissible and provide proofs for it while present scholars ijtihad?
Again?
How do we deal with people who hold the view of videography being impermissible and provide proofs for it while we present scholars ijtihad?
The evidence for it being haram is stronger than any ijtihad that the scholars have. So go with the evidence. If you don't accept it, like in this case where we're doing something, you accept at least that it's haram. And whatever you're doing it for some other, that it's sinful. And I've accepted that. I accepted what we're doing is not permissible. And the people, and I'm on that opinion that it's haram. And anybody who gives their dawah without making videos and without posting pictures, I support them 100%. And I make dua for them. 'Cause those are the people that are following the adillah. You know. So Allah Mustaan.
If a woman gets married while she is pregnant, is the marriage invalid?
She gets married and when?
While she is pregnant, is the marriage invalid?
Yeah, because she's still in her period. She's still in her waiting period. Her waiting period is until she has the baby.
Fatima says, don't be ignoring my comments. And she's talking about,
She's talking to you.
yeah, she's talking about going 100 miles an hour to go eat the fish.
100 miles an hour to eat some fish.
Said,
I'm
doing 100 to go get it.
You might as well slow down because ain't no fish left. Malik done killed that. Huh? All right, somebody killed it. Maybe it wasn't Malik. What you got over there, man?
No, it's candy.
I know. What you got? Like, what's in there?
Oh, it's some chocolate in there.
I'm hungry, man. I got I see some Reese's, man. You go ahead and hand those over.
Oh, I don't know it.
I see the orange wrappers.
Oh,
Come, bring it over, man. That's it, just a small one. This is like,
man. Hold on.
you called the Adhan already?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta see this. Hold on.
All right, let's hurry this up because I don't eat on camera.
And we got it.
Sorry, go. Is the marriage invalid if she's pregnant from zina? Is it still invalid?
Still doesn't matter, yeah. I mean, well, any marriage that she has, if she's committed zina, is going to be invalid until she makes tawbah. It's not permissible. It's not permissible for her to, like any marriage that she has, while she's hasn't made tawbah is invalid. Doesn't matter if she's pregnant or not. She has to make tawbah. And if she makes sincere tawbah, and after making sincere tawbah from the action that she did, then she can get married, and then the marriage will be valid. But as long as she's considered a zaniya, any marriage that she has anyways is not permissible. Not permissible until she makes tawbah, whether or not she's pregnant or not. But it doesn't matter. Her time for her waiting to get married is for her to give birth. She cannot get married until she gives birth.
Two people were praying in Jama'at, and as a third I came, and before I said takbir, I put the follower back and then said takbir. Is our salah valid or no? Since for a few seconds the guy besides me was in a row perhaps, and just a second later I said takbir and joined.
Again.
Two people were praying in Jama'at, and as a third I came, and before I said takbir, I pulled the follower back and then said takbir. Is our salah valid?
Yeah, it's still valid. So. The Prophet ﷺ said, "La yaqbalu Allahu salata munfarad wara as-saf." And the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept the salat of a person who prays by himself behind the row. But that means you prayed, that you didn't get anything from the salat. So, I mean, as long as like you did like Allahu Akbar or you pulled them back, and you caught the salat. But like, it's better to pull the person back, make sure that you're in the row, then say Allahu Akbar. But you have the hadith of Abu Bakr where he made takbir and he went into the ruku' while he was walking into the saf. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you said to him, about that action, like, don't repeat it.
I got a question. So, hold on, how could I say it? So when you make a salat, let's say a child walks in front of you.
A who?
A child just walks in front of you.
A child?
Yeah. And he should know better, but he's still young and he's still got a lot of ignorance in him, so would it be permissible just like if he keeps on getting in front of you while you're making salat, but like I don't know, he's just ignorant in that sense or shit?
It doesn't invalidate your salat.
Oh, okay.
But if he keeps doing it,
that's just
you gotta protect your salat, man.
No,
Yeah.
As a layman, when presented with source, how do we know if it's the only proof in that matter? Isn't it better here to follow the scholar who might have a wholesome knowledge on the topic?
Yeah, that's what, but you follow the dalil. You don't follow people's opinions, you follow the dalil. And when you're following the madhab, you're supposed to be following the madhab because you're following this imam's opinions on the evidence. But that's not what the people study nowadays. When they study the madhab nowadays, they're not studying the dalil. They don't know the dalil. They just know the opinions. Get into any argument with a person who follows the Hanafi madhab. Start asking them for evidence, and see where that conversation turns. See if that guy will ever talk to you ever again. So the people, they're not following the evidence anymore. They're just following the opinions of the parents, the opinions of their scholars, the opinions of, they don't know if they're right or not. You follow the evidence, and if you're going to follow somebody's opinion, you follow their opinion based on the evidence that was given to you. You know.
Can you share with us some good things you know, Sheikh Abdul Hamid Al-Zakori?
Zorqari. I just know he's memorized a lot. Alhamdulillah. I don't know anything but good about him. So he's a person of knowledge and a person of action. A person who's always quick to advise the people, always quick to help the people. Whenever people have questions and have issues, he's always right there. You know, he's teaching constantly. You know, even when he's very, very sick. So alhamdulillah, he's one of those people. One of those people. Like you don't get too many of them in a lifetime. You don't see too many people like that. You know, in any lifetime. So just to even, live in this time that we live in and see one person like that, or two people, or three people, alhamdulillah, in the match we had quite a few. But you get out in the world, you're not going to see people like him. Like, they don't exist.
That's what I was telling him, man. I was like, because I've been on a truck, and I was just so, it was just like, I feel that I ain't lost touch with, like, who I am. Of course, I'm a Muslim. But it was just like, man, it was just a lot of, it was it's what you get when you're around the is it the Ummah? Yes, it's what you get around the Ummah, I guess I got a little used to it, so then it's like, when I was far away and not really on heading to like mosques and stuff like that, I could understand, where you're supposed to stay with the Jamaat and everything, where it comes from. So I was just that's what I was gonna say. That's another reason why I came back, because I need to basically refresh my mind, get back in, on the Sarat.
But you got more Muslims out in Memphis than you got out here, though.
Oh yeah, but no, I wasn't even out. I wasn't even. I came in. It's a trip.
Where were you going? Like, where they have you driving?
I was on Western.
You were on the West Coast?
Yeah, so I was
Oh, so you weren't on the East Coast?
No, I ain't went all the way out there. I wasn't going to go out there to Tennessee, but leave my team in here. I didn't want to. But yeah. But other than that,
Is
it's gonna be like, we're gonna take this one and one more, and we're gonna go.
Is one's marriage valid if they agree to teach a surah? Because in a class already it is said that some say that you can teach Quran as dowry.
Yeah, we already took that. We took that in Bulugh al-Maram. The person, when he didn't have, he couldn't even find a khatam min hadith, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, like, what do you have? Ma ma'ak min al-Quran. What do you have from the Quran? And in a different narration, he said, "Andi surah kada wa surah kada." He said, he said, "Adab wa allamha, allamha hadi allati indak min al-Quran." And he married him with that purpose in mind. So it's permissible.
If I looked at something disgusting while fasting, does it invalidate it?
No.
Since it may lead to me vomiting?
No, if you vomit, there's nothing authentic from the different hadith that invalidates even the and we talked about this in Ramadan in the book that I wrote, that even the hadith about it's a list of about the person who makes himself vomit is not even authentic. So vomiting does not, you don't break your fast by what goes out of the body as far as your stomach. You know, you only break your fast by what goes in. Except for obviously with the situation of sexual relations. That's something different.
It said how to deal with family members who are known to put amulets in our houses.
Take them and break them. Teach, I mean, the very first thing that you always got to start with is you have to start teaching the people first, you know, because you just going around, even taking them and breaking them or throwing them away is not going to really, it's not teaching them. It's going to go buy another one and put it somewhere. And maybe they're going to even get better at hiding them. But you need to teach the people. You need to go and show them that this is not permissible. You know, I mean, this is why we're going over Kitab al-Tawheed, inshallah. We're going to continue that Saturday, inshallah, and that's the whole purpose. You know, that you see that these things are haram, you learn it, and you go and you teach the people around you. You know, so they stay away from these things. Last question. Make it count.
Do you know Abu Abdullah Abdul Rahman Rafa he is in Toronto.
Who?
My pronouncing is not good.
Mujahid.
Mujahid.
So Malik comes back on the same day that Mujahid comes back. When did you get back? Today or when?
I came back,
Who?
الحكيمي
I don't know.
He's saying they're
it was
in
Tuesday.
Masjid in Toronto. He's asking if you know.
I don't know. I've never been to Canada before in my life. I don't know. I don't even know what Canada looks like. I told you one more question, make it count. You didn't make it count. One more. I gotta eat this caramel big cup, man.
That's it. Good one.
So Hamza's not coming today, or is he's gonna get here later? Or what?
I don't know.
Oh, you didn't talk to him?
He asked me if I was coming. So yeah.
Okay, so he's gotta close the restaurant now. He's gonna, cause now Aisha is so early now. So. All right, man.
Yeah.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك